Greetings to you this day, wherever you are in this world. The Heavenly Host and the Heavenly Father wanted me to talk to you about a dream that I had several months back. Must have been late spring. I don't remember the whole dream, but there was this segment of this dream at the end of it that stood out and will always remain a symbol for me for the rest of my life. It goes like this, and forgive me if I kind of stumble a little bit over it, but I just hope that you can get something out of this, because for me, this is one of the most profound dreams that I've ever had in my life, and to be able to remember it and to share it with you is an honor. But it's also uncomfortable, because I'll be dealing with some of the deepest parts of my life, because my whole life has been a roller coaster. But I'm thankful for it every second, even in the moments of despair. But the dream goes like this. I was being chased by these mobs of people, and I ran out on this it's like an old bridge. One of those old time bridges that was made out of old steel beams, and it was over this river, and it was a monstrous bridge. It was huge, tall, and the river, it was a big river, but it had several aspects to it. But anyway, these people, they had chased me from both sides, I don't know how I got to where I was at, but anyway, I couldn't go to my right or my left, and I couldn't go backward. I could only go forward. And they had cut me off to where there was this overhang. It was an overhanging beam on this old metal iron bridge. It was like a metal beam, if you can imagine that. It was huge bridge. But this beam was only probably about maybe 6 inches wide, but it went deeper than that. It was only 6 inches wide, but the beam might have been, I don't know, a foot or 2 feet long. Down. It was like the width was like 6 inches, and then below it went down about maybe a foot or 2. It was a big beam. It was a huge iron beam. But anyway, it was probably used, back in the old days, they used to have beams to do different things over the river, depending on what was required, But anyway, these people, they were trying to get me, and so I had to run out on this overhang. And I was so scared. I was so afraid. I was like, I don't have any other choice. I have to jump. And it was so high above this river. It was so high, and I can swim, but it was just so high up. And so when you jump from high up, a diver or a person that knows how to swim, they'll understand what I'm saying. When you're jumping off something into the water, and you're high above the water, when you jump your body into the water, your body automatically goes down far, goes down deep before you can, start to swim back up. So I was like, oh my God, it's a river. Rivers are dangerous. They have all kinds of currents up underneath sometimes, and you don't know where the swell is going to be. But this particular spot in the river, when I was out on this beam, it was like a division in it. It was like on the left part of the river, it was real light. It was like I could see the bottom, It was like a gold color. And then The other side was dark, but I hesitated. The other side was so black. I couldn't see the bottom. But for some particular reason, I hesitated, you know. And in normal consciousness, you would think, okay, I'm going to jump where it's light. But something made me hesitate and think about it. And, and I was looking to the left and the right, and the left was light and I could see, and the right was dark and I couldn't see. Usually when it's dark, it means it's deep, 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 deep. And so my spirit inside of me said, you can't jump where the light is at. You can't jump on that side. You got to jump where it's the dark side. The reason why I couldn't jump on the light side was because it was too shallow. So I said, oh my God, I was so fearful. I said, oh my gosh, if I jump where it's dark, it could be an undertow. When you go down so deep into the water and it's river, that could be it for you, But Spirit said, look, you don't have any other choice. Jump. If you want to be free, you're going to have to jump. Have faith. So at that moment, I went ahead and jumped to the right, and I was just, when I jumped, it was like I could feel the whole way. It was like, oh, it was a long drop before I hit the water, and then I went splash, and then my body just went down, 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 and I couldn't. Went down so far. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, please. I was just praying. I was like, oh my God, don't let the undertow take me, please. And it was so black. And as soon as finally my body reached a point where I stopped going down. So immediately, as soon as I could, I just started swimming up. And I was praying the whole way. I was like, oh my God, because I was still far from the top. It was still black. I couldn't see anything. So because it was so black, I just closed my eyes and just started swimming up, I said, Lord, I was praying the whole way. Please let me just come up to the top, please. And finally, I could feel myself come up above the water. And I survived the jump, But in that moment, God told me, everything isn't always as it seems. Sometimes going into the shallow can get you killed. Sometimes what you think you see isn't always what is good for you. Sometimes you have to go deep in the dark places. You will find me there too. You have to have faith when you're in the dark places. Don't be deceived, That was the whole thing, was that we can be so deceived about what seems the most logical way. And before I made that jump, when I was on top of that beam over the river, I was like, oh, wow, I could see it was light, But because of the height of the bridge, if I'd have jumped over there, I could have broke every bone in my body, because the force of me jumping off of the bridge from that height, I would have hit the water and then just hit the rock, and just my whole bone, all my body would have been collapsed, because I would have when my body went down, it would have been too shallow. So I could have got hurt badly, and I wouldn't have made it out. So he let me know that the only way is got to go down there where you got to jump where it's deep, where it's black, where you can't see. And you're going to have faith in me. If you're listening to me, have faith. And that was the scariest thing for me in that dream, was jumping to the right into that black abyss. because I just didn't want to go deep. I just was afraid to go deep for fear I would be taken, But that particular time, it worked out for me because I listened to God, Now, I'm not saying that the situation couldn't be reversed, but in this particular situation, I'm just giving you the analogy of how God was talking to me. I had to close my eyes for a minute. So I was closing my eyes for a minute and remembering this dream. So if the video goes a little sideways, it's because I had closed my eyes for a few minutes, and so it might be a little crooked. And I'm not going to redo this video because this was hard for me. I had tears in my eyes when God told me to reveal this dream to you. But sometimes we got to go in the deepest, darkest places to find our salvation, to show our faith to Him, And it's not easy to make those decisions. Sometimes, it's not always the shiny and the glittery things. Sometimes it's the dark and the murky and the scary depths and the things that we have to deal with. But that's the only way sometimes, I'm not saying that light is bad. I'm just saying in this particular situation, I had to go to the deepest, darkest spots, God is light, so I don't want there to be any confusion. But Satan also, he is, he's, he can come in the form of a light, it's an imitation. So we have to be very careful. That's why it's so important for us to find God so that He can guide us through this process of life that we're going through, because, it can go either way. But if we lean on Him, He will tell us which way to go and when, because it could switch up, But He always will be a guide for us if we listen to Him, because it's not always as it seems. The thing that seems the most clear isn't always. Sometimes the thing that seems like it's the best thing would be the thing that hurts us the worst. I think about that dream a lot. It changed my perspective on a lot of things, man. Sometimes we have to deal with dark. We really do. And it's a scary thing. It's not always easy. It's not. It's not. But if we are with God, we got to have faith, that He's going to bring something out. And when I hit that water, and I was going down far, I opened my eyes for a brief second after I stopped, descending, and it was so scary because I couldn't see anything, and I was afraid of the undertow, that there'd be an undertow. And I just, out of my fear, I just started swimming up, And I was praying the whole time. And sometimes that's just what He needs from us. He needs us to go ahead on and pray our way through our dark times, And I just hope that I could become a better person in my darkest moments. Those are the times that are the most roughest and difficult, is when it's dark and we don't know what to do. And we have to just do blind faith, Because sometimes what we see is a deception. What we think we see is a deception. And had I jumped to the right, I could have broke every bone in my body and just drowned, because my body would have been broke up and I'd have passed out and drowned anyway, because probably I wouldn't have made it out, because I wouldn't have been able to swim back up, possibly. Sometimes we got to be willing to jump into darkness and have faith in God to get us out of it and pray our way through, you know. As scary as it can be sometimes, you know. It's okay to acknowledge your fear so you can come to grips with it. But people, find God. He's really reaching out to people. Nobody's saying be perfect. Nobody's saying stop everything that you're doing. You know, it's hard to stop certain things, you know, but find God and he'll guide you out of what it is you're doing if it's not the right thing. You know, nobody's perfect. We've all made mistakes, me included. You know, it's been a bumpy ride for me, you know, but when I mess up, he really chastises me very badly because I'm with him. So I really get a whooping. So I'm supposed to be an example, but I fall short sometimes, you know. I'm just a regular person. Find God, please. And I hope that through my confession and talking about my experience with this particular dream, I hope that somebody can find something in it that will help them to deal with whatever it is that they're going through right now. Just know you don't have to be perfect. No one is. Just be repentant. That's all. You know? When you mess up, just say, you know, I'm sorry, Lord. I apologize. Sometimes we're not sorry, but we know it's not right. Just apologize for it. If you're not sorry, don't say I'm sorry. Say I apologize then. You know? There's a difference. But be humble before him. You know? We all get chastised for the things that we do that are wrong. Nobody's floating on a cloud on this earth, you know? Some do better at being more disciplined than others, you know. I'm pretty disciplined most of the time, but sometimes I fall off sometimes, you know. What I do is big. But I don't let that stop me from loving God though, you know. I just get back on track. I ask forgiveness and hold my head up and get past the embarrassment and just keep going and try over. I hope you'll find that life it's a beautiful thing that we have. It's full of ups and downs. And I just hope that you can get something out of this story that I brought to you. Have a good day wherever you are.